I never thought I'd be that guy, the one waking up to animal control officers standing on his porch at sunrise holding tranquilizer guns and clipboards, looking more nervous than the so-called dangerous animal they came to investigate. But that was me at 6:45 on a Tuesday, standing there in my pajama pants while my golden retriever Bailey greeted them like they'd come just to play fetch. You ever see a 70-pound dog try to wag his whole body at once? It's like watching a metronome having a happy meltdown. The taller officer squinted at his paperwork, then at Bailey, then back again. "Sir, we received a report about an unregistered attack dog at this address." Meanwhile, his partner was already crouched down, scratching Bailey's belly, which is basically his idea of a proper background check. Bailey rolled over so fast his guide harness slipped sideways, showing off every badge, every tag that proved he was the real deal. "That's Bailey," I said, steadying myself in the doorway, the way you do when you want to seem more put together than you feel. "He's my guide dog, fully certified, International Guide Dog Federation and everything. I'm legally blind. This guy's my partner. You want to see his papers?" Even without perfect sight, I could sense the embarrassment pass between the officers, the way you can just feel a room tense up when someone realizes they've been played for a fool. "My name's David Hartley, and when I moved to Pine Ridge Lake, I thought I was buying into peace, quiet, and maybe a shot at lowering the migraines that started after a car accident wrecked my vision 5 years ago. My grandmother left me her cabin, a little 2-bedroom with a porch that wraps all the way around. I figured it'd be perfect, me Bailey, a few audio editing gigs from home, and maybe if I was lucky, a sense of belonging. But then I met Patricia Cromwell. She introduced herself as HOA president before I'd even unloaded the last box clipboard and measuring tape in hand, sizing up my trash cans, the width of my flower beds, even the exact distance from my porch to the mailbox. "You'll need to register your dog with the HOA," she announced, eyeing Bailey like he was hiding a switchblade under all that golden fur. "We don't allow aggressive breeds. That animal looks part German Shepherd." I tried explaining patiently at first that Bailey was a golden retriever, more likely to drown you in kisses than bite, and anyway, he's a working guide dog protected by the ADA. Patricia sniffed, jotted a note on her clipboard, and clacked off in rhinestone-studded sandals, muttering about bylaws and community safety. What came next was honestly impressive in its pettiness. Patricia filed complaints about Bailey's excessive barking every time he let me know someone was at the door, literally his job. She tried to cite me for leash violations, ignoring the harness and patches that made it clear Bailey was working. She even accused me of running a commercial animal operation because Bailey relieved himself in my own backyard. I saved every letter, every fine attempt, every ominous final notice warning me about my uncontrolled animal. When I sent pictures of these complaints to an attorney buddy back in the city, he laughed so hard he nearly choked on his coffee, especially the one that said Bailey's presence was lowering property values and making residents feel unsafe. At HOA meetings, Patricia would spend whole segments waving around blurry photos of Bailey doing truly criminal things like napping on my porch or playing fetch with the Morrison kids from down the block. "This animal charged at me," just yesterday she declared at one meeting, holding up a photo of Bailey walking next to me on a leash. I kid you not, she claimed she had to dive into Henderson's flower beds to escape. Henderson's, by the way, are fenced and 50 feet from the sidewalk. It didn't stop there. Patricia started whisper campaigns at the mailbox cluster, warning neighbors to stay vigilant and avoid Lot 47, my house, apparently now the scene of an ongoing canine crime wave. She even posted warnings on the community Facebook page, her little bridge club cronies backing her up by crossing the street anytime they saw us coming, clutching their handbags like Bailey might make off with the silverware. Then came the cameras. Not one, but several pointed straight at my yard, all in the name of documentation. She even edited together weekly highlight reels for the board, adding her own dramatic music seriously just to show Bailey yawning, stretching, or once wagging his tail at a butterfly. I tried inviting her over for coffee, hoping she'd actually meet Bailey and see how ridiculous this was. She refused, claiming she couldn't risk her safety. Even offered to meet at the community center. Nope, too dangerous. Things got real when Patricia called every agency she could think of. Health department came out, checked. My yard shrugged, left. Code enforcement measured Bailey's doghouse. He never uses it, but they measured anyway, declared it legal. Every failed attempt seemed to make Patricia more determined. She started a petition to ban dangerous dogs using language so vague it could have applied to every pup in the neighborhood over 30 pounds. When that flopped, she pushed for muzzles on all dogs in common areas, citing recent incidents nobody could recall because, well, they never happened. Animal control. Third visit was the charm, at least for me. After they left apologizing for wasting my time and warning Patricia about false reports, I decided it was time to push back. I put together a formal complaint to the HOA board, harassment, discrimination, you name it. I stacked it with every letter, every blurry photo, every official report she'd filed. Added statements from neighbors who'd watched the whole thing play out, Mrs. Morrison, whose kids think Bailey's basically Lassie 2.0, and Tom Henderson, who was sick of his flower bed starring in Patricia's tall tales. The real board president, a sleepy old guy named Robert Garfield, who usually let Patricia run the meetings while he napped, was floored when he saw the stack of evidence. They called an emergency board meeting. My attorney attended by video and made it crystal clear the Americans with Disabilities Act is not a suggestion. Harassing a disabled person because of their service animal isn't just wrong, it's illegal. Filing false reports, blocking access, creating a hostile environment, all actionable. Patricia tried to defend herself, claimed she was just protecting the community, but when pressed for details, she stumbled and mumbled about general concerns. The board's patience ran out. The vote to remove her as president was unanimous except Patricia, who abstained. She was banned from filing complaints about Bailey without board review and had to take down every single camera pointed at my place or face legal action. But the fallout didn't end there. Word got out. Patricia's real estate business took a nosedive. Nobody wants to buy a house from a woman kicked off the HOA board for targeting a disabled neighbor. Her face on those top seller benches around town, suddenly not such a hot commodity. Then the Department of Justice stepped in, thanks to my attorney's formal complaint. The ADA fines alone started at $25,000 with extra penalties for every bogus report. Her own lawyer advised her to settle fast, so she covered my legal fees, made a hefty donation to the Guide Dog Foundation, and yes, attended mandatory sensitivity training. The next HOA election, Patricia tried for a spot on the architecture committee, got exactly 3 votes, probably from her bridge club. The new president, Mrs. Morrison, rewrote the bylaws to make sure nobody could ever pull this stunt again. Service animals and the people who depend on them were explicitly protected. Bailey and I finally got our piece. The Morrison kids come by to play fetch, Tom Henderson waves every morning, and the new HOA board even featured Bailey in the community newsletter, calling him a symbol of inclusivity. Patricia still lives 4 doors down. She crosses the street when she sees us, but now it's embarrassment, not fear. The cameras are gone, the report stopped, and Pine Ridge Lake is what I hoped it'd be when I first arrived, a quiet place to heal, to work, to just be. Sometimes I catch Patricia peeking from behind her curtains when Bailey and I pass. She never says a word. Last I heard, she's fighting for new rules about pool noodle colors, seems more her speed. And on those calm mornings when Bailey leads me to the water, I think how much easier life would be if people just took the time to understand instead of fear. But then Bailey nudges my hand with a stick tail going a mile a minute, and I remember some folks will always see threats where others just see a dog and his person living life. So I throw the stick, Bailey chases it, like he's never known a bad day, and somewhere behind us, a curtain snaps shut. In the end, justice wasn't about revenge. It was about standing up, documenting everything, letting the law do what it was made to do, protect people who need it from folks who can't handle a little decency and common sense. Patricia learned the hard way that HOA power isn't a license to bully, and the price for crossing that line is steeper than any fine she ever threatened me with. Now I gotta ask, where do you draw the line between community safety and flat-out harassment? Did the board do the right thing? Or was Patricia, in her own strange way, just looking out for everyone? Let me know what you think, because honestly, after all this, I'm dying to hear how you'd handle a neighbor like that.